good morning, and welcome, TGIFBB.
Hmm. I dig it. What's going on, everyone?
Good morning. Hey, Phil.
Good morning.
I should say,
Hey,
hey,
how's
Phil.
it going?
So we're back.
Can you hear me?
It's another Friday for some sharing of
I
cool
heard you,
digital
Phil.
stuff. And we're just going to jump right into it. You guys know the drill at this point. And I think, Jeff, you were going to start us off, right?
For sure. Yeah, over on TV One, Kitchen One here.
Over on Kitchen One.
We all know Google Lens. Maybe if you don't, I'll give you a quick refresher. It's basically a way to extract, copy, paste text from an image. So you can see it in action right here. There's a piece of lined paper, and you can copy all of the text out of that. And voila, or viola, depending on your handwriting. So apparently this is pretty finicky depending on how legible your handwriting is, but they just released a new update where you can send it right to Google Docs. So you can copy a bunch of text from a notebook, send it right to your computer. Super cool bit of technology. I think it'd probably mostly be useful for like students, maybe some office work. Most of our work is done on the computer, so it might not be super useful to us, but just the feature in general is pretty cool.
Yeah, but this is cool
Google
because a lot of
Lens.
times we might get asks, from clients just about, hey, are there tools or softwares or applications that you guys know of that can make it a little easier for us to work, especially kind of in this separate way. So even just knowing about something like this could be a value add for a client.
Yeah, definitely. Super free too, right on your phone. Next up is a couple of, okay, everyone knows Reddit, but Reddit working from home, and particularly in the with just everybody working from home. So it's just a cool place to gain a little bit of inspiration on, coding setups, office setups. Some of it is just office porn. It's really cool. And then Refined is a new kind of like an aggregator. I thought it was kind of like a dig, if you will. I thought it was interesting the way in which you select your preferences or set your preferences. So every day and you select a particular time. This is beautiful, by the way. This is just my computer. We'll pick how many do you want from what topics. And there's just tons of different, categories and a bunch of subtopics underneath them. And obviously I have, we have programming, data visualization, software engineering, marketing, data science, accessibility. And I've found a bunch of cool stuff from this. So Refined. Next up, I would be remiss if I didn't include some sort of awesome data visualization of this terrible situation. This is one of the cooler ones. This is just on informationisbeautiful.net. And it features a very interactive graph, to me, even legible color scheme, which is huge, right? You could hover over and it'll gray out everything that's not within our scheme. Super cool way to see just various bits of data. And the whole page is beautiful. I mean, you could take a look at this yourself, and there's just tons of really cool information. I kind of got on this accessibility train from Refined, and this is just a really well-written article that kind of illustrates the need for accessibility on the web. We generally only think of this permanent column, right? The person's deaf, the person's blind, the person is using a screen reader or something because they literally can't see. But there's a bunch of other kind of fringe cases that happen way more often than you would think. Like I can't hear right now because I'm in an airport and it's super loud or something. So
You had an issue, Jeff, that you actually had an ear infection and you couldn't hear very well
for
for
sure,
a
yep,
few weeks. So
yep, that happened. So yeah, this is a really cool read. It just outlines the need and the kind of finer points of UX. Then another UX project I found was Project Sidewalk, and it's basically Google Maps, traversing the world like Google Maps does, but for pedestrian accessibility. So if you're in a wheelchair, you're on crutches or something, it'll map out a route for you that's acceptable. That's about all I got. This is just a bunch of podcasts that I found on this dev.to community that I shared a while ago. And there was a really cool one called The Pitch Room that is it seems more like startup level, but a lot of really cool marketing podcasts. So I'll share all these links, but that's pretty much my shares for today.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Certainly Appreciate what does that one say? I'm not a couch worker.
We're all couch workers
I
now.
know, right? Phil, were you up next on deck to share with us?
Yep. 1 second.
You should be seeing my screen now.
I think we are, yeah. We're seeing your screen, Phil, but I don't know if we're hearing you right.
Can you hear anything
Now we can, yeah.
I'm saying? Or am I just like, oh, okay. Sound like a robot half the time. It's like whenever he has something to say,
I know.
the internet's like, nope. Well, hopefully you can at least read what I'm trying to show, but keep tabs on your tabs in Google Chrome. I must sound really funny right now.
No, we hear you well right now.
Oh, okay. See, you can laughing, so it's hard to tell. But basically, Google Chrome is going to be allowing you to categorize your tabs. So anyone who kind of goes crazy with tabs, this will be really helpful to you. But basically, you can set your own labels. So you can see in this example here, they have work, best friend, their dog. So you can create any kind of label you want to. And this is like something that I kind of already do mentally, but it's gonna be cool to have like a visual guide to help me. So I'm excited about that. I just wanted to share that with you guys. The next
The next thing was something that I found that Coors Light is doing. So they have a campaign going on right now called America Could Use a Beer, um, kind of just going along with the pandemic and the mood that everybody's in, but they're kind of doing it in a more humorous way, I think. There's more levity to it than a lot of the things that we tend to see that are very somber and serious. But basically, what they've done is they've created a clone machine, which you can access on in the main navigation site, and video here introduces what the so the more video America has, the harder it is to take a break and chill is Coors Light's thing. So they've created this clone machine, that's what they're calling it, where it records a 30-second looping video that you can then download and upload to Zoom so it can be your background. So basically, you record your video, and this is what the it looks like when you do it. But you record it for 30 seconds. It actually gives you like tips on what to do to make it look convincing. So it'll tell you to like quick, look interested, or look like you're writing notes, something like that, and you save it, and you can then upload it to Zoom for your background, and then walk away, and no one will notice, and you can grab a Coors Light, and it's kind of like a gimmicky thing, but I thought it was um, like a fun twist on this whole Zoom thing.
No, that's tons of fun, man. This
It's
it's very
very,
timely, you know.
and so it got my attention. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, how many people are actually going to do this? I don't know, but like, it's fun to think about, and it's a cool thing to get people's
Yeah,
attention.
if we
So,
used Zoom, I would definitely try it.
and so that's all I've got this week.
Awesome.
Happy to pass it
Yeah,
along
Jake, I think
to
were you gonna go
whoever's
next?
next.
I certainly
There you
can.
go. That's the yes and. Shout out in the chat to everybody. Thanks for watching along. Special shout out to Papa Corey, getting some love in the chat this morning.
All right, you guys should hopefully be seeing my Friday meme.
Sure am.
This isn't actually a meme. I think these are serious articles, but I found them on a Twitter thread and thought they were hilarious. So this is, how will COVID-19 shape the future of big stare for sitting? But the good news is some designers think big stare for sitting can be divided into several big stares for sitting. So users can still sit on big stair while maintaining appropriate social distancing. So, that's really great news, since big stair for sitting is something that, is really a core part of Partners in Napier. So
Yeah.
looks like that we'll be able to continue with some
Yeah, I can't
distancing.
wait to see what Scott
So
thinks about
that's
subdividing the staircase.
that sounds like something that he really wants to get started on right away. So I'm sure someone can send him this article and he can start drawing up the plans for that
Yeah,
ASAP.
please.
I'm not going to do it, but someone else can, certainly. All right, now let's get into it. So Jeff was sharing some accessibility stuff, and thought that was great. Usually it's me every week, but first I just wanted to point out that I don't think any of us are hunting for accessibility things to share with you. It's not like we're obsessed with it and we just want to like hit you in the face with it. These are just coming up on the sites that we're already browsing on, these, UX and digital trend sites, because it's really important and it's becoming more important. So, that's why there's always a ton of accessibility shares, just because there's a ton of accessibility need and awareness that's kind of out there. So this is an application called Tot, which was new a while ago. And a lot of the developers and software developers that I follow were really talking about how great it was, but they had a pretty big accessibility problem. So their whole user interface was based on these colored dots. And here's an example. So they're colors of the rainbow, but here's an example of what the colors looked like without any sort of without being able to see some of the colors. And so it was just yellow on the outside and blue in the middle, and there was no differentiation. So this whole article kind of goes into what they did to fix it, how someone had sent them an email about their accessibility issues, and it even goes into some of the development decisions they made in terms of how they're painting on the colors and using specific values and overlaying that, so that if someone has like a Mac accessibility feature, they would see it like this instead of seeing it with the colors. So I thought that was a really interesting article. And then here's the article that I had found linking to the article, and the sentence down here I really loved. It says, it's a great example of how first-class accessibility and exuberant custom UI design don't have to be at odds, but in fact can go hand in hand. And that's really important. Accessibility isn't trying to make your design worse or more boring. It's just trying to make it better and trying to help us find creative ways to still be able to serve all users, not just, oh, well, I can see the yellow fine, so I don't know why we're talking about color contrast. It does make everything better. And so I really liked that sentence
absolutely.
down there.
And, I think just to piggyback off that sentiment that you have, I know we talk about accessibility a lot, but I think that's a good thing for us as a company and part of our culture to constantly be talking about accessibility and the spirit of accessibility and making things as user friendly for everyone as possible. We have people right now within the company who are working with some of our other sister agencies, and Elise, for example, even brought up accessibility in one of the projects and meetings she was in. And I think they were sort of surprised how much knowledge and depth she had. And I think that's just a testament to how much we care about that. And it's not something that every shop or every agency or creative company cares about. And I think it's something that can really set us apart as far as having that empathy and being in favor of every human instead of just a big database of emails and numbers. And what is Rob doing right now?
Do not know.
I'm
That's
sorry. There's a murder hornet or something in my apartment, so I'm gonna be back and forth. Apologies.
Good luck, buddy.
It's been
Feel
nice
for you.
knowing you.
What Andy was saying is a great point. That's something that kind of sets us apart, and that we, are able to kind of look at and assess pretty quickly. I found this. I think they're a digital consulting agency. They're called Say Yeah, and since this whole staying at home thing started, a lot of companies probably aren't looking to just hire an external consultant right now. So what they did is they put together what they're calling the Essential Website Audit, and it's just an audit that you can purchase for any size company. And kind of what they're talking about is this will help you get ready for when you are ready to make next moves. You don't have to pick up a big project with us, but we can just audit your website for you. So they've got these stats. 25% of people in North America have some sort of vision impairment. Almost 20 million people use their keyboard as their primary method of navigation. There's a 4% increase in website visitors when they started including transcripts for their audio and video recordings. So what they do is they do an audit based on it for a few key principles. There's usability. Here's an example. Which one of these boxes is selected? Not sure. It could be the light ones, could be the dark ones. Accessibility, like what we're saying here. This would be considered hard to read, although we can probably read it. Some people maybe wouldn't be able to. But then they also look at inclusivity. Having just male and female for gender maybe isn't the most inclusive set of options that you can use. And so they've got a few different options that you can purchase from them. They've got kind of like a starter, a really detailed one that you can buy, or even a custom package. So, for just $500, you could get this, 7-page PDF sample that just kind of high level lets you know, here's some things that we're seeing on your website. Take it or leave it. You can do nothing with it, or you can, engage with us once, the cash flow is back and running. Yeah. So, again, as we're asked to think of creative ways that people can offer services, maybe it's not something typical that they were doing, but maybe it's something that they do really well that they can offer at, a stock low price, and just kind of get out there for people.
Yeah, this is such an awesome share, Jake, because I think we talk a ton about accessibility, but something nobody talks about very often in the web design and digital space is inclusivity and usability, right? Making sure that people might have some sort of impairment or faculty where they need assistance to consume the content. Usability is like, is it even well thought out? Is it designed properly? Does it make sense? Is there affordance so you can understand this is a button, that's not a button, this takes you there? So it's a lot of stuff that it's so much nuance and semantics, but I'm so glad that something like this exists to kind of remind us of that. And not for nothing, like we do these audits too. It's not something we do all the time, but we've done workshops before where the output really is just something like this. It's an audit saying, hey, here's kind of the opportunities on your experience, and of course here's a price at the end of that audit document for us to go ahead and fix that stuff too. So if that's something that you feel like your clients are ever needing, even just an overview, understanding how is their piece performing, or is it going to be optimized for as many visitors as possible, that's a conversation we'd love to have with them.
Mm-hmm. And as always, I like to end with something fun. So there's a font called Scunthorpe Sans, and it's a font that uses ligatures to block out certain words. So typically these are used to kind of connect two letters together that may be written to connect. But what it did is it just took, certain swear words and created a ligature that basically, blocks it out. So, you start typing and you finish it off, and, that's what happens. And I thought that was really cool. It's called Scunthorpe because the Scunthorpe problem is what they've kind of named the problem of, where you have a word that has the characters inside of it that is maybe a word that would get filtered out. And so because of that, it happened to this, I think it's a town of Scunthorpe that kept getting like blacklisted in Google searches and things like that because they have a swear in the name. You can try to find it if you can't already. So I thought that was really interesting. So it says, with a special exemption for the word of Scunthorpe, the town has suffered enough. So you can look up, what the Scunthorpe problem is. But you will notice, if you write Scunthorpe correctly, it'll uncensor itself. So
like if you were to write like shiitake or something, it would do the same thing. It would correct at the end of the word.
No, it wouldn't. They only made the exception for Scunthorpe. So obviously this is something that we wouldn't be able to use in any sort of a serious way, like on a client site or something. But it's just a really fun way to play with the way that fonts can work and just do some fun stuff. And vol.wtf has some really, really fun things that you can use. So I think it's a good site to play around with. Like, are there placeholder images? So like, these are images that could be used as placeholders on any site. They work really well. So just some fun stuff like that.
That's awesome. We actually have been creating a custom font for Friendship. We're in the final throes of it now. It's something that Rick Calzi especially has actually been very involved in. And it's a really fascinating process. We were actually just looking at the font yesterday and discussing ligatures. And so it's just kind of Interesting. But yeah, custom font creation is something that we're now into as an agency too, I guess.
It's just a good Easter egg that you could add in if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
that's great. Awesome. Nice. Are we flipping the script to Rob Gone Remote?
Sure, why not?
It looks like you're looking up at Jake and like waiting for him to say it's your turn.
Yeah, Jake.
Please, sir,
Not that
go
murder
ahead.
hornet.
No.
Not the murder hornet.
No. All right. So I'm gonna go quick through this because I obviously have some stuff to deal with in here that may or may not kill me. So first and foremost, I know for like the last couple all about data for the COVID stuff, and this is something that we just found that it kind of has like a lot of the stuff that we'd shown you previously like together as one. So this one is a really cool way to determine whether or not your community is ready to reopen. So what we can do is have like, you can select a state and you can see that like New York as a whole is actually not really great right now. And when you click on through, you'll see like the growth rate is low, which is awesome, but the testing is not widespread. The hospitals are pretty overloaded. And those are like the main criteria that they use for determining whether or not we're ready to reopen. But if we go into Monroe County, see we're doing a little bit better than that. The ICU headroom is a lot lower. Still not that much testing going on, and the growth rate is a little bit higher. It's over 1, which I know, as Doug was talking about during our last meeting that we had, it was kind of, that's where we want to be. We want to be underneath that, but again, cool way to show how, like, where we came from, how we've been doing, and to see how like our whole 6 feet saved stuff like has been helping out and everything. And you can kind of see a projection of where they think it'll. I don't know if you can see that on this. Yeah. So again, just like a really cool way to showcase all of this stuff. They have just really good information on everything and a really good way to showcase all the data all together. But aside from that, because we always like to balance the kind of weird and shitty with the fun stuff, I'm actually going to take this back a little bit. When the Big Byte first started way back when in the collab, it was something that was like just for our team. And a lot of times what we would do is show stuff, not necessarily that's like emerging technologies or really, really cool, UX and whatever else. We would kind of just show stuff that we like. So I figured one thing that I wanted to show was a really cool site that I came across called explore.org. And the reason why is because they have, oh God, he's buzzing. They have so many live cams like all over the place. And this is something that I think is really necessary for us now when we want to escape. They have such a really cool way where you can kind of actually see like, I'm going to look at some birds, or I'm going to look at oceans, or they have Zen cams, which are, different, like, I'm going to have to go soon. I apologize, but he is freaking out and I need to get him out of here. But like, cool waves and stuff and checking out like different places. So this is a really, really fun way. They have so many different cams that you can check out, like jellyfish camera, et cetera, et cetera. So a good way to escape if you need to just kind of get away and meditate for a little bit and, block all of the craziness that's going on. Check out these cool little baby eagles. I've been watching them a little bit today. They're pretty fun. They're chilling right now.
I just found one called Puppy Playroom, which is
that
one.
Put it
I'm
on.
trying to stay away from.
Find the puppy.
Which
playroom.
brings me to my final share, which again is something from back in the day, but I wanted to bring it back, especially now, because working from home and finding all of these like fun, things to look at, like Puppy Playroom, reminded me that, oh yeah, that's right, there was this really cool website that you guys shared with me way back in the day, and I feel like we should share with some of the new folks, which is called Take a 5, which basically creates a self-destructing tab. So you can tell yourself, I'm only going to be watching these videos for 10 minutes, or I'm only going to go on TikTok for 5 minutes or something. And at the end of that time, it will destroy that tab so you can get right back to work. So again, just, let's, I'm going to be using this a lot today.
Yeah.
But,
Rob, it looks like Aaron wants you to go ahead and actually end your share by killing the murder hornet.
I mean, I don't. He's really. I have tall ceilings. He's like up there. I've got my Raid Max. I don't know if this will work.
Is that extended reach?
I
Rob, I
hope
would just
so.
say let it be.
I don't know.
Phil doesn't
I
want
It's
don't
time
anyone
to
to die
move.
today.
This might be my last big bite. Let's be real about that. It's been fun.
Well, it has been fun. Obviously, thank you guys all for hanging out with us. Trying to end right on time, get you back to it at 9:45, or if you got a meeting at 10, give you a couple minutes of downtime. Let it be. Aw, Phil, how cute. Thanks for checking out, guys. As always, appreciate it. If you guys have any shares, feel free, send them our way. If you ever want to drop in and share yourself on a Friday Big Bite, totally welcome to it. I'm sure Rob would rather be chasing the murder hornet around his apartment than sharing stuff. So thanks again. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Try to get out. It seems like it's sort of nice. Have a good one. Peace out, guys.
Cool. See y'all.
Bye, guys.